Hello and welcome. Namaste from New Delhi. You're watching DD India News Hour. I'm Gautam Roy, and coming up over the next 1 hour. US President Donald Trump announces the capture of Nicolas Maduro in a large-scale strike in Latin American nation. Says the Venezuelan president and his wife are set to stand trial in New York on drug and terror charges. Venezuela's vice president seeks proof of Maduro's life from the US. Caracas's allies condemn the strikes. Argentina supports. The EU calls for restraint. UN chief says the move sets a dangerous precedent. Iran's supreme leader vows not to yield after Trump's threat to rescue protesters. Khamenei concedes that some demands of the agitators are fair, but rioters should be put in their place. And Prime Minister Narendra Modi inaugurates Grand International Exposition of Sacred Prasar Relics related to Lord Buddha. Says sacred relics of the founder of the Buddhist faith are India's heritage. In a move which has stunned global capitals and jolted diplomacy, the United States has announced the capture of Venezuelan President Nicolas Maduro following military action. The unprecedented development has ignited outrage in Caracas, alarmed world powers, and raised urgent questions over sovereignty, international law, and what comes next for Venezuela. As reactions pour in and tensions soar, the international community is bracing for the fallout of a moment that could redefine power and politics in the region. Here's more in this report. Geopolitical fault lines in the Western Hemisphere have erupted. Months after a bitter standoff marked by accusations of narco-trafficking and illegitimacy, the United States carried out a stunning operation in Venezuela. Posting on a social media platform, Donald Trump declared that Nicolas Maduro had been taken into U.S. custody. Trump wrote, "The United States of America has successfully carried out a large-scale strike against Venezuela and its leader, President Nicolas Maduro, who has been, along with his wife, captured and flown out of the country." Hours later, the Trump administration said Maduro and his wife, Celia Flores, would face what it called the full wrath of American justice on charges related to drugs and terrorism. Attorney General Pamela Bondi posted on X that Maduro and his wife, who were earlier removed from Venezuela by the U.S. military, according to Washington, will soon face the full wrath of American justice on American soil in American courts. Caracas, however, says it has no clarity on the fate of its leader.
In the face of this brutal situation and in the face of this brutal attack, we have no knowledge of the whereabouts of the President Nicolas Maduro and the First Lady Celia Flores. We demand from the Donald Trump government immediate proof of life for President Maduro and the First Lady.
Venezuela's Defense Minister Vladimir Padrino warned that the country would resist any foreign military presence.
We will release all our capabilities for the integral defense of the nation. To re-establish order and peace, we will activate throughout all the geographical national space with perfect popular military and policing fusion. We have placed in operation massive deployment of all the terrestrial, aerial, naval, river and missile armed systems for defense.
As the crisis escalates, mixed global reactions have poured in. British Prime Minister Keir Starmer urged all nations to uphold international law.
As I say, I can be absolutely clear that we were not involved in that. And as you know, I always say and believe we should all uphold international law.
Russia's foreign ministry said that it was extremely concerned by reports that Maduro and his wife were forcibly removed during what it called aggressive US actions. In a statement, the ministry said, "We are extremely concerned by reports that Venezuela's president and his spouse were forcibly taken out of the country during today's aggressive actions by the US. If confirmed, this would constitute a grave violation of sovereignty and international law." Other Maduro allies like China, Iran and Cuba also condemned the attack. On the other hand, European Commission President Ursula von der Leyen said the European Union stands with the people of Venezuela and supports a peaceful, democratic transition. Meanwhile, Argentine President Javier Milei, a key US ally, openly hailed Maduro's arrest. He wrote, "Freedom moves forward, long live freedom, damn it." With leaders detained, borders tense, and diplomacy strained, the world is now watching closely, asking whether this marks a turning point for Venezuela or the beginning of a far more dangerous chapter. Bureau Report, DD India. And UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres has said that he's deeply alarmed by US action in Venezuela, which sets a dangerous precedent. His spokesperson said in a statement on Saturday. UN spokesperson Stefan Dujarric said, and I quote, "The Secretary General is deeply alarmed by the recent escalation in Venezuela, culminating in today's United States military action in the country, which has potentially worrying implications for the region. Independently of the situation in Venezuela, these developments constitute a dangerous precedent." The Secretary General continues to emphasize the importance of full respect by all of international law, including the UN Charter. He is deeply concerned that the rules of international law have not been respected. The Secretary General calls on all actors in Venezuela to engage in inclusive dialogue in full respect of human rights and the rule of law. End quote. Now, from bus driver to President, Nicolas Maduro's journey reflects the complexities of Venezuela's modern history. A close ally of Hugo Chavez, he rose through union activism and foreign diplomacy before assuming the nation's highest office. His tenure has faced economic challenges, mass migration, and criticism from human rights groups. Following a recent US strike on Caracas, Maduro's capture has drawn global attention, raising concerns over regional stability and energy markets. DD India's Rahul Upadhyay brings us more.
Venezuelan President Nicolas Maduro rose from humble beginnings in Caracas to the center of geopolitical storm. His journey reflects both loyalty to Hugo Chavez, socialist vision, and the turbulence of Venezuela's modern history. Maduro was born in 1962 in a working-class leftist family in Caracas. Influenced by his father, a trade union leader, he entered labor activism early. In the 1980s, he worked as a bus driver while organizing transport unions. His political training in Cuba and support for Hugo Chavez's failed 1992 coup cemented his role in the Bolivarian movement. By 1999, Maduro was elected to the National Constituent Assembly, where he contributed in drafting Venezuela's new constitution. He later secured a seat in the National Assembly, rising to Speaker in 2005. From 2006 to 2013, he served as Foreign Minister, strengthening ties with Russia, China, and Iran. In December 2012, Chavez, battling cancer, publicly endorsed Maduro as his successor. Following Chavez's death in March 2013, Maduro was sworn in as interim president. He narrowly won the April election against Enrique Capriles, sparking demands for a recount. His presidency has since been marked by economic collapse, hyperinflation, food and medicine shortages, and mass migration. While critics blame corruption and mismanagement, Maduro insists US sanctions and economic warfare are responsible. Maduro secured re-election in 2018 amid allegations of fraud, and in 2024 claimed victory in another disputed vote. Beginning a third term in January 2025, human rights groups accuse his government of repression, including arbitrary detentions and violations of civil liberties. The US-Venezuela conflict escalated sharply in 2025. Washington seized Venezuelan government assets, struck boats accused of narcotics trafficking, and designated Maduro's circle as a terrorist organization. Maduro responded with warnings of declaring a state of emergency and claims of advanced Russian-made air defenses. On January 3, 2026, US President Donald Trump announced a dramatic military strike on Caracas. According to Washington, Nicolas Maduro and his wife, Celia Flores, were captured and flown out of Venezuela. The move has triggered global shockwaves, with regional leaders warning of destabilization in Latin America and OPEC raising concerns about oil market volatility. Maduro's rule has seen Venezuela's oil output plummet, once the backbone of its economy. However, Maduro maintained military loyalty and alliances with Russia, Iran, and Cuba until the latest US strike shifted the balance. Rahul Upadhyay's report for DD India.
Maduro even had an India connection as a follower of Satya Sai Baba, but that is just an aside. Let's talk about the implications of what has happened now. Our guest for the evening is Amrit Lagoon, former senior diplomat. His last responsibility was as India's envoy in Athens, Greece, but he had his duties also involved at one stage being involved in Latin America for the Indian Foreign Ministry, the External Affairs Ministry. Good evening to you, Ambassador Lagoon. What do you make of what has happened right now? And in fact, Donald Trump has already revealed quite a lot in terms of how things unfolded and how things will now be taken forward as well with Fox News even before he's held his press conference.
Yeah, this is really unprecedented that serving head of state, though it was a controversial head of state, because as the report said, the last election was quite, in 2024 was quite a challenging one, and the counting and recounting went on till Mr. Maduro was declared elected by around 50%. 51% of the vote, and the second opposition leader, whom his party claimed had won 70% of the electorate. Election was declared first runner-up with around 44% of vote, Mr. Gonzalez, and of course one popular opposition leader, this lady Maria Machado, was debarred from fighting the election. So the third election was quite murky for Mr. Maduro. In our neighborhood, what happened with the latest election of Sheikh Hasina in Bangladesh. So it was an internal turmoil, and Mr. Trump, even in his first term, Mr. Trump, in 2017 and 2019, he had taken steps against Mr. Maduro. So there was a little bit of personal enmity background, and this sort of situation which developed, and him getting the excuse of narco-terrorism, blaming on Venezuela, and slowly tightening the news. And also the partners of Venezuela, who are the strong supporters, like Russia, is itself embroiled in war with Ukraine, and Iran, as we know, is internally now very weak with Khamenei. So this situation, maybe he has taken advantage and taken Mr. Maduro out first, neutralizing these ports and the main military establishments. But the way serving head of state, whatever the background, has been picked up along with his wife is really very unprecedented. And internationally, he was recognized as the head of state. Of course, the US and majority European Union countries, and even many of the Latin American countries, like Mr. Milei of Argentina, he has expressed happiness that Mr. Maduro is not there. But then neighboring countries of Venezuela, like for example, Colombia, which also hosts a huge number of Venezuelan displaced persons who have escaped from the country due to this economic hardship, during as it was brought out in the report, which also is very ironical, because Venezuela is supposed to have the largest oil reserves in the world. So Colombia also has shown unhappiness, though they would like the Venezuelan who have escaped there to return. And it's a big supplier of oil. Only I think 2 or 3 Latin American countries, as far as I know, Cuba, Honduras, and Bolivia have expressed a strong resentment against what has happened. Others are
Brazil
just
too.
wait and see. And the coming days will be interesting to see where he has been taken. Mr. Trump says he will be tried in US and all, which is also,
Well, Donald Trump has made that clear. He said that he's being brought over to New York aboard the Iwo
yes,
Jima, which is an amphibious naval vessel. But the other telltale things that Donald Trump has disclosed to Fox is that the US will remain involved in Venezuela's oil industry, and that whoever might replace Nicolas Maduro will not be allowed to carry on the way that he was, but he's not committed to whether it will be Maria Corina Machado. What do you make of that?
yeah, I mean, oil interests of U.S. Companies are very much tied there economically. I mean, before the predecessor of Mr. Maduro, Hugo Chavez, came into power in 1999, and he nationalized, all the oil industries of Venezuela, where U.S. companies were very, very active. And they've cried foul ki whatever compensation they were given were not adequate or much lower than what was expected. So that resentment is there. And so unfortunately, the Mr. Chavez first and then Mr. Maduro, they internally, they could not handle the economy. They tried to use oil to make friendship with other Latin American countries, but when the oil prices plummeted and global prices, so that did not hold up. So they are watching very closely, and we should also know that they are just close by to Venezuela, bordering. Venezuela is a country, Guyana, where a lot of offshore oil reserves have been now discovered, and there most of the contracts have gone to the American companies. They are already operating, and Venezuela and Guyana also has a border dispute, where we call Escubo region, which is bordering the two countries, which is a historical past. So naturally, the U.S. would like to get back, of huge oil reserves of Venezuela, oil and gas. So and taking advantage of this situation, their internal situation. But then in the international arena, like what had in the U.S. action had happened in Iraq, again when Saddam Hussein, the way it was removed. So this is a second attempt like that, and where, of course, Mr. Saddam Hussein was never taken out. He was killed, but Mr. Maduro and his wife have been taken out, and how they will be tried will be very interesting, because the only way where this situation which has developed, irrespective of the background, as per the international law and the way world politics has developed over after Second World War, is the UN. So how UN Security Council will take it up, where we have, I'm sure there will be a lot of acrimonious deliberations there, where we have US, France and Germany, Britain on one side, and China and Russia.
France has also been critical and saying that international law has not been respected. So that
and
is
also
something
the
that
British Prime Minister also.
Yes. Apart from how Russia and China have completely slammed the move, and the UN chief is saying that it sets a dangerous precedent as well. But on the other hand, what about Venezuela itself? Because Maduro and his wife might have been taken out, but people he appointed from his party, like the vice president and others, the entire cabinet, they're still the same.
Yeah. Yes. So internally also Venezuela is likely to go through a lot of turmoil, and we should go back to the 2024 elections also, when the results were declared by the Venezuelan Election Commission, and people had come out on the streets. There was a street fighting, and because there was a lot of support, and many people were looking for change, especially how the economy was handled, in the last 10 years of Mr. Maduro, and then previously during his predecessor. So they were very much looking for a change, and there is a lot of Venezuelan who have been forced to leave, not like they are in Colombia and in Brazil. And I also know there are a lot of Venezuelans who have come as far as India. and USA. So they will be looking for a change. And the other interesting aspect will be how the army, Venezuelan army and armed forces behave, because the only way the order can be put is if these people support the rest of the remnant of the regime. Otherwise, they may like to go with the change. Especially, they have also been hard hit by the economic
Well,
situation, which
certainly,
has
which is
been
why
very.
perhaps we will later find out that some people did collude with the U.S. as well
Again.
in ensuring that Maduro is whisked out along with his wife. But what about the fact that Donald Trump, till last year, was laying claim to the Peace Prize, the Nobel Peace Prize, and has now initiated military action to whisk out a head of state? What sort of a move do you think that would be seen as by the American populace themselves? The opposition is already going to town about how this was completely unnecessary and it sends out the wrong signal to the world.
Yeah, I mean, he might claim ki, even when the last Venezuelan election happened in 2024, Mr. Biden was the president in US, and even Democrats were very critical of how the election happened. So Trump, taking advantage of the total American sentiment and the economic might of his supporters, he might claim that that this Venezuela was going down the drains, and Mr. Maduro was involved in this narco terrorism, which is also like some sort of a regional war where the thugs, etc., are taking advantage of the situation and creating law and order situation both within the country and also regionally. Like where Saddam Hussein was blamed for having weapons of mass destruction, which were never proved. So something that is being put on the head of Mr. So he would claim that he ended this narco terrorism, and before it could escalate further, and also he has liberated the Venezuelans, ordinary Venezuelans who were serving under an oppressive rule with
Right,
very
right.
bad economy.
Well, let's see which way it
So
goes.
he
We're
will
still
claim
waiting.
that, but how it will play out? Yeah, how it will
Yes.
play out, we will have to see.
Certainly. We have to see what more does Donald Trump has to say as well about it as well in a short while from now. Thanks a lot for joining us for the moment. I'm the Lagoon. Iran's Supreme Leader Ayatollah Ali Khamenei has acknowledged the economic grievances driving nationwide protests, even as he issued a stern warning against what he termed as rioters. Addressing the unrest, Khamenei said the government is working to resolve economic hardships in Iran, adding that public anger over rising prices and stagnation is completely fair. However, he drew a sharp distinction between protesters and those he accused of violence, saying dialogue is futile with rioters and that they would be dealt with firmly. And now updates from Yemen. The key eastern port city of Mukalla has been recaptured by the Saudi-backed Yemen internationally recognized government. In a statement, the military of the Saudi-aligned government announced that all military and civilian facilities in Mukalla had been secured by Riyadh forces. The city, Mukalla, capital of Hadramaut province, had fallen last month into the hands of UAE-backed southern separatists. On Saturday, the Saudi-led coalition hit back against a sweeping advance by the UAE-backed Southern Transition Council, threatening a major confrontation. Pro-Saudi forces also took control of Yemen's Seyun International Airport. Meanwhile, Saudi Arabia called for a comprehensive conference in Riyadh to bring together all southern factions of Yemen to discuss just solutions to its southern cause. Now, security advisors from NATO and European allies met Ukrainian officials in Kyiv on Saturday for further negotiations on a plan to end the war with Russia. Zelensky, in a post on X, said the discussions moved forward along three key directions: security guarantees, reconstruction, and a basic framework for a real rebuilding. While advisor to the Ukrainian presidency, Alexander Bevs, said that the talks focused on aligning positions with partners, stressing that pressure was coming from Russia, not the West.
The problem in the territories in the Zaporizhia nuclear power plant and in such complex issues is not with the Europeans or even with the Americans. It is not the Americans who are insisting on certain ultimatums that are unacceptable. It is the Russians who are insisting. And accordingly, today's meeting with our European partners, which is still ongoing, was devoted to agreeing on positions with them. But we have no disagreements with them on how Ukraine can best protect its interests.
Meanwhile, Zelensky said he held a conversation with British Prime Minister Keir Starmer on Saturday. In a post on X, he said that he had a good conversation with Starmer about how to move forward in diplomacy at this stage. Zelensky also said that he discussed the need for a fair decision regarding the frozen proceeds from the sale of Chelsea, £2.5 billion that can and must significantly help protect lives and support Ukraine's recovery after all the Russian strikes. North Korean leader Kim Jong-un on Friday inspected a greenhouse farm construction site near the country's border with China. Kim arrived by train at the construction site in Sinuji, which lies opposite China's Dadong across the shared border. The area had suffered significant flood damage in 2024 and is now undergoing reconstruction. The visit is part of a series of inspections by the leader in recent weeks covering key military and economic facilities. Back home, Chhattisgarh Chief Minister Vishnudev Sai met President Draupadi Murmu in New Delhi on Saturday and extended an invitation to her to attend the state-level tribal cultural festival Bastar Pandam 2026 as chief guest. During the meeting, the CM highlighted the rich tribal art, culture, traditions and folk life of the Bastar region, describing the festival as a key initiative to preserve, promote and showcase Chhattisgarh's tribal heritage. He also briefed the President on Chhattisgarh government's development initiatives in tribal areas. And still to come on DD India News Hour. Railways Minister Ashwini Vaishnav inspects sleeper edition of Vande Bharat Express train, which is a semi-high-speed express. And we'll also get you a special report on PRAGATI at 50, which is an ICT-enabled governance initiative of the Government of India.
From monsoons to winters, seasons have now become unpredictable. So today, let's meet people who, despite the challenges of change, are working towards a better future.
I started working in waste management and focused on reducing polythene use to protect the environment.
Within 6 months, all the other plants turned into manure, but this one plant was still blooming. So that was a big motivation for me to start Only Adenium.
If we can continue this initiative, we hope by 2050 to see a green belt along the entire coastline.
When you're surrounded by asphalt, concrete, glass, and these run-of-the-mill buildings that are becoming more and more alike, then of course people will want to create a more natural, more livable niche here and there.
You're watching DD India News Hour. I'm Gautam Roy. Now, Prime Minister Narendra Modi inaugurated the grand international exposition titled The Light and the Lotus, Relics of the Awakened One on Saturday. The exhibition not only is an endeavour of the Government of India to preserve its rich cultural heritage, but also takes forward Prime Minister Narendra Modi's vision of Vikas Bhi, Virasat Bhi, that is, development along with heritage. DD India's Deepika gets us this report from Rai Pithora Cultural Complex all about the relics of the Buddha. Take a look.
Prime Minister Narendra Modi inaugurated the Grand International Exposition of Sacred Piprahua relics linked to Bhagwan Buddha at New Delhi's Rai Pithora Cultural Complex on January 3rd. Prime Minister Modi also took a tour of the exhibition titled The Light and the Lotus that showcases repatriated relics archaeological artifacts, and immersive displays highlighting Buddha's life, India's Buddhist heritage, and global cultural legacy. Interestingly, the exposition brings together the Piprawa relics repatriated after more than a century.
भारत केवल भगवान बुद्ध के पावन अवशेषों का संरक्षक नहीं है, बल्कि उनकी परंपरा का जीवंत वाहक भी है। पिपरवा, वैशाली, देवनी मोरी और नागार्जुन कोंडा जैसे प्राप्त भगवान बुद्ध से जुड़े अवशेष बुद्ध के संदेश की जीवित उपस्थिति है। भारत ने इन अवशेषों को साइंस और अध्यात्म हर रूप में संभाला है, सहजा है।
The exposition underscores India's enduring civilizational connection with the teachings of Buddha and reflects Prime Minister Narendra Modi's commitment to preserving and promoting the country's rich spiritual and cultural heritage, underscoring the vision of Vikas Bhi, Virasat Bhi. The initiative was made possible with the help of Godrej Company under the PPP model.
We're very humbled and honored to have been able to play a small part in this historic moment, and I think full credit goes to the government for their role in taking the initiative, being very responsive and making sure this win for the whole country.
The collaboration with the political agendas of both the government right now with the PPP model helps us promote arts and culture privately as well. This really gives access to wider audiences.
This is a historic event. I think India is able to bring back its treasures, and this is a great blessing. This will bring a lot of good fortune.
I think it's very good for Indian people and many people around the world to come to India, because Indian is land of Buddha, is land of the Awegwant.
For the first time since the 1898 excavation, the exposition brings together relics from the 1898 Kapilavastu excavation, treasures from the 1972 excavations, reliquaries and jeweled treasures from the Indian Museum, Kolkata, and recently repatriated relics from the Pepe family collection. At the center of the exhibition is a model of a central stupa inspired by the Sanchi stupa. Also on display is an intricately carved dancing apsara repatriated from the USA that now stands as a powerful symbol of heritage lost and reclaimed.
Vikas Bhi, Virasat Bhi. With that aim and with that vision, Prime Minister Narendra Modi and the entire government of India was successful in getting back those sacred relics to India after 127 years. They were going for an auction, but the government of India noted it at the right time and were able to bring it back to the country with all the efforts. And today, not only the disciples of Lord Buddha, but the entire world is thanking the government for making this initiative, for taking this step and bringing back the sacred relics back to the place where they belong. With camera person Piyush, this is Deepika reporting for DD India from New Delhi.
As Deepika mentioned, the Buddha relics were brought back after 127 years. In 2025, when Sotheby's announced an auction of the relics, the government of India took swift action and made all efforts to bring them back to the country.
The very reason of the setting of this exhibition is to celebrate the occasion, this historic occasion when the relics which went out of the country, they can be reunited after 127 years with the relics, gem relics which were with the Indian Museum. And the idea here is to show them what we have created, and it's not just the relics. They are the centerpiece, of course, but we also have showcased some 88 objects which are related to the life of Buddha.
Now, the countrymen celebrated the day when the relics were showcased and thanked Prime Minister Modi for taking steps to bring them back.
जो अवशेष कितने सालों पहले भारत की भूमि से बाहर चले गए थे उनको नीलामी से बचाया गया है और वापस लेकर आए हैं और ये दिखाता है कि भारत केवल वैश्विक स्तर पे एक फोर्थ लार्जेस्ट इकोनॉमी नहीं है, केवल इकोनॉमिक स्तर पे नहीं है, कल्चरल स्तर पर भी है और ये बुद्ध की भूमि है, ये बंधुत्व की भूमि है, ये हमारे प्रधानमंत्री जी ने बताया है। आज पूर्णिमा के सुंदर दिन पर भारत में सब लोग पूर्णिमासी का स्नान कर रहे हैं और आज हम यहाँ पर बुद्धम शरणम गच्छामि को सही मायने में देख रहे हैं।
Now, the government's ICT-enabled proactive steps taking initiative PRAGATI has completed its 50th review meeting, marking a key milestone in higher-level project monitoring. Designed to ensure timely execution and accountability, the platform has reviewed thousands of infrastructure and welfare projects across the country. Cabinet Secretary on Friday outlined its impact on clearing bottlenecks and improving delivery on the ground. Let's take a look at this report.
The PRAGATI platform, an initiative by Prime Minister Narendra Modi for high-level review of major infrastructure projects and public welfare schemes across the country, has crossed a significant milestone with its 50th meeting. On this occasion, while talking to media on Friday, Cabinet Secretary Dr. T.V. Somanathan said the PRAGATI platform has significantly helped in completing a number of projects, including Jammu-Srinagar Baramulla rail link, which was pending since 1994, the Bogibeel Bridge, pending since 1997, and the Navi Mumbai Airport.
382 projects were reviewed, of which 114 related to roads and highways, 109 to railways, and 54 to power. There have also been many projects related to petroleum, coal, housing, health and family welfare, Jal Shakti, some related to external affairs, steel, and 18 from other sectors.
The impact of Prime Minister's review of major projects is clearly visible on the ground. Over 3,300 projects worth more than 85 lakh crore rupees have been reviewed. Government capital expenditure increased more than 3.6 times between 2014 and 2025. Expenditure increased from 4.26 lakh crore rupees in 2014 to 15.53 lakh crore rupees in 2025. On average, one issue was resolved every working day after review under PRAGATI. 61 government schemes, including One Nation, One Ration Card and Pradhan Mantri Jan Arogya Yojana, were also reviewed. Since the implementation of PRAGATI in 2015, issues related to COVID-19, banking and insurance, Jan Dhan Yojana have been reviewed. Various types of grievances in 36 sectors received through CP Grams portal and other means have also been addressed.
Apex of the PRAGATI system, the Prime Minister personally chairs PRAGATI review meetings. In these meetings, he deals directly with Chief Secretaries of all the states and the Secretaries of all central departments and ministries who come together at these reviews to address issues in specific projects or schemes.
A detailed case study published by Oxford University states that India's PRAGATI platform has proven to be a game changer in ensuring timely completion of large infrastructure and social projects over the past decade. The Oxford study highlights Prime Minister Modi's leadership as a key reason for PRAGATI's success. Monthly review meetings, clear deadlines and top-level monitoring enabled the completion of projects after years of delays.
This study has identified as some of the characteristics or highlights of the PRAGATI system. Firstly, it says it's a transformative digital governance platform that has strengthened senior-level accountability and fast-tracked long-pending infrastructure and social sector projects. Study says that this is a global benchmark and a single source of truth for real-time project monitoring.
In the 50th PRAGATI meeting held this Wednesday, Prime Minister clarified that equal attention must be paid to both timely implementation and quality of the programs, with inputs from Ajay Mishra, for DD India.
India's flagship Vande Bharat Express is set to enter a new chapter. The much-anticipated sleeper edition of the semi-high-speed train promises passengers a more comfortable overnight journey with modern amenities and upgraded design. Railways Minister Ashwini Vaishnav inspected the train this weekend. Take a look.
Railway Minister Ashwini Vaishnav on Saturday inspected the sleeper edition of the Vande Bharat Express train that will get inaugurated this month. The Railway Minister detailed upgraded facilities that have been designed for comfortable overnight journeys aboard the semi-high-speed Vande Bharat Express.
ये एक टोटली नया डिज़ाइन है। 1970s में जैसे राजधानी ने ओवरनाइट एक्सप्रेस एक आई थी, उसके बाद में बहुत बड़ा परिवर्तन वंदे भारत स्लीपर का है, जिसमें आने वाले समय में बहुत एक अच्छा पैसेंजर्स के लिए एक बहुत अच्छा इम्प्रूवमेंट होगा। फूड क्वालिटी पे बहुत विशेष ध्यान दिया गया है और जो बेडशीट की क्वालिटी है, कंबल की क्वालिटी है, उन सब पे ध्यान देके इस ट्रेन का डिज़ाइन किया गया है।
The air-conditioned sleeper train is equipped with advanced technologies including smoother propulsion and newly designed couplers. The upgraded bogies will feature easy access boarding steps, reading lights and adjustable windows.
बहुत चीज़ों का ध्यान रखा कि अगर आप रूफ से देखना चालू करें, अगर आप सीट के नंबर्स उधर देखिए, लाइट के साथ सीट के नंबर्स हैं, तो रात में भी आराम से देखे जा सके। जितनी धूप हो, जितना व्यक्ति चाहे, उतनी लाइट और उतनी प्राइवेसी प्रोटेक्ट हो सकती है आराम से। पुश बैक का बटन है, हर तरीके से ये अलार्म का है टू स्टॉप ट्रेन, पुराने ज़माने की चीज़ों से बाहर निकल के।
The first Vande Bharat sleeper train between Guwahati and Howrah will be flagged off by Prime Minister Narendra Modi later in January. The sleeper Vande Bharat is expected to be an affordable alternative to air travel.
And still to come on DD India News Hour. The auspicious festival of Posh Purnima is celebrated on the banks of holy rivers. Bangladesh's Mustafizur Rahman is released from Kolkata Knight Riders squad following instructions from the Indian Cricket Board.
Geopolitics and trade deals. Economic challenges amid development. Hard work and the path to prosperity. It's the economy always. Between walkers, money is what money does and says. Supply creates its own demand. Between the bulls pulls and bears tears. When supply chains globalization and India rises to the podium. We'll get you centered with the economic brief at 8 p.m. every Thursday on DD India.
Welcome back. You're watching DD India News Hour. I'm Gautam Roy. Thousands of devotees gathered at the ghats of the Ganga in Varanasi on Saturday to mark Posh Purnima. From early morning, pilgrims took holy dips in the river, considering the day auspicious in the Hindu calendar.
Hara Hara Mahadev.
Thousands of devotees from across North India gathered at the ghats of the Ganga in Varanasi city of Uttar Pradesh on Saturday for Posh Purnima, the full moon day of the month of Posh according to the Hindu calendar. The day is considered auspicious in Hindu religion and is marked by devotees taking a dip in sacred rivers like the Ganga.
आज कह रहे हैं कि पौष मास के शुक्ल पक्ष की पूर्णिमा स्नान है और आज से माघ महीने का भी जो संगम का स्नान हो रहा है वो भी स्टार्ट हो गया। आज के दिन माता बहनें लोग दूर दूर से श्रद्धालु लोग आते हैं, गंगा स्नान करते हैं, पंडित जी को अन्नदान जलदान हो सके तो तिलदान भी पितरों के निवृत्ति दान करते हैं।
क्या महत्व होता है आज के दिन स्नान करने का?
इस समय का बहुत बड़ा महत्व है। ये महत्व ऐसा है कि गंगा स्नान करेगा जो जिसके भी कष्ट बाधा रोग वगैरह सब दूर करने के लिए और मोक्ष की प्राप्ति करने के लिए गंगा स्नान करते हैं।
Many devotees braved the severe cold conditions to offer prayers on the occasion early in the morning.
यहाँ आज माघ की पूर्णिमा है। आज गंगा स्नान करने से जो है हमारे वेद पुराणों में लिखा है कि इससे जो सारे पाप दूर हो जाते हैं। इसी वजह से हम सब लोग भी भाई स्नान करने आए हैं।
गंगा स्नान से हर चीज मिलता है, सब चीज गंगा माँ देने वाली है, सब पाप का नाश करने वाली है, मोक्ष देने वाली है।
The day also marks the commencement of Magh Mela at the Sangam in Prayagraj, the 44-day religious fair that will conclude on February 15th.
Ahmedabad is in full bloom as the 14th Ahmedabad International Flower Show opens its doors to the public. Organized by the Ahmedabad Municipal Corporation, this year's exhibition carries the theme Bharat Ek Gatha, celebrating India's rich cultural heritage through vibrant floral displays. The show brings together colors, traditions and creativity under one roof and will continue to welcome visitors till the 22nd of this month.
Ahmedabad is hosting the 14th edition of the Ahmedabad International Flower Show, which opened for the public on January 1st. Organized by the Ahmedabad Municipal Corporation, the theme of this year's exhibition is Bharat Ek Gatha, showcasing India's rich and varied culture and traditions from historical times.
इस बार का थीम भी भारत एक गाथा है, तो विजिट करना चाहिए। सभी यूथ को इसके बारे में पता चलेगा कि किस तरह से हमारे यहाँ पर कल्चर डाइवर्सिटी है और अलग अलग चीज़ों को दिखाया गया है भारत की, तो आना चाहिए।
सारे हमारी जो सांस्कृतिक धरोहर है और जो सांस्कृतिक चीजें हैं उसको पूरा फूलों से और लग रहा है जीवंत है, और यहाँ आकर के ये मतलब लगा कि हाँ बहुत ही अच्छा, जितनी तारीफ की जाए कम है, और एकदम बहुत अच्छा।
Many visitors at the event said they were delighted to be part of the show, enjoying the vast variety of flowers on display.
हम तो हर साल अपने बच्चों के साथ यहाँ पे आते ही आते हैं, और फ्लावर शो देख के अगर ऐसे नाम पड़ा कि फ्लावर शो आने वाला है तो बच्चे पहले से ही एक्साइटेड हो जाते हैं देखने के लिए।
साल में एक बार देखने जैसा शो है, जो मतलब हम लोग तो एक्चुअली बॉम्बे से यहाँ वैकेशन के लिए आए हैं, तो आज स्पेशली ये शो देखने के लिए आए हैं, क्योंकि ये हर साल होता है और बहुत बड़े पैमाने पे होता है, और मतलब इतना अमेजिंग शो है कि इसको देखे बिना हम वापस नहीं जा सकते थे, इसलिए आज स्पेशल ये शो देखने के लिए आए हैं।
The flower show features displays based on Indian festivals, classical dance forms, mythological stories, important development projects and sports themes, among others. The event will continue till January 22nd.
Well, now it's time to get some sporting updates as well. Well, BCCI Selection Committee has picked India's squad for the upcoming 3-match ODI series against New Zealand, starting the 11th of this month at the BCA Stadium in Vadodara. Shubman Gill had missed the South Africa ODI series because of a neck spasm suffered during the Kolkata test, while Shikhar Iyer is making his return from a spleen injury he picked up during the tour of Australia. While Gill returned to action during the T20Is against South Africa, Iyer has not played any competitive cricket since October 2025. Shreyash Iyer's availability is subject to fitness clearance by the BCCI COE. Hardik Pandya has not been cleared by the BCCI COE to bowl 10 overs in a match, and considering the ICC Men's T20 World Cup to follow, his workload is being managed. IPL franchise Kolkata Knight Riders have officially confirmed that Bangladeshi fast bowler Mustafizur Rahman has been released from their squad ahead of the upcoming Indian Premier League season. The franchise shared the update through a press release, where they added that the decision was taken after instructions from the IPL governing body. The Board of Control for Cricket in India asked KKR to release Rahman from its squad. BCCI will allow Kolkata Knight Riders a replacement player in line with IPL regulations, and further details will be communicated in due course. The FIFA World Cup trophy landed in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia on Saturday at the start of a tour which will see the iconic trophy visit 30 FIFA member associations across 75 stops over 150 tour days. Italian World Cup winner Alessandro Del Piero carried the trophy on its first stop in Riyadh, where Saudi dignitaries, including the Vice President of Saudi Arabian Football Federation, Lamia Bahayan, were present to mark the occasion. The 2026 tour started in the country which will host the World Cup in 2034 before it travels to all 3 host countries for this year's tournament: the United States, Canada and Mexico. The trophy tour will also include the host nations for the 2030 tournament: Morocco, Portugal and Spain. The new season of Men's Hockey India League kicked off today in Chennai with as many as 8 teams competing for the title. Delhi SG Pipers, who finished at the bottom place last season, would look to turn their fortunes this time around. DD India's Mehraj Singh caught up with the captain of the men's Delhi team, Janmarpreet Singh, in New Delhi before the start of the league.
A new edition of Hockey India League is just round the corner, with the men's tournament starting from 3rd of January in 2026. And to talk more about this, we have the captain of the Delhi team, Janmarpreet Singh. So a very warm welcome to you. So new challenges, new season and a new role of captaincy as well. So first of all, how do you see this new role of captaincy?
First of all, thank you so much. I think it's a great opportunity for me to improve my leadership quality in this season, and SG Pipers trust on me, coaches and staff and management, and trust on me and giving me this opportunity. So I will try to give my 100% in the game also, but I will also try to give my full 100 in my leadership quality also.
This auction for Delhi was also very youth-centric, and there's a good amount of young players in the team. So as a captain, what will be your order of business to prepare them for the tournament?
For young players, I think it's a great opportunity to show themselves that they can make in senior men's teams. So this is a very good opportunity for the junior players. So we will try to make everyone comfortable in the team first, because they will play with some senior players and some foreigner players. So that's our biggest challenge, to take our team on another step from the last season, and we expect from all junior players to give their 100% in full season.
And we talked about the youth of this team, but we should also talk about the seasoned player, the acquisition of Rupinder Pal Singh. So how do you see his acquisition and his addition to the team?
Rupinder Pal is one of the most senior players in our team, in Indian players. So I think their guidance and how to play well in pressure matches. So they will teach us, and they will help us in every match. And so I think Rupinder Pal's presence is very important for team.
And maybe some key areas that you identified last year, which you think you can rectify this year to maybe have a top 4 finish and reach the final as well?
Yeah, that's our main target this year. We have to, last time we didn't do well. We end up in the last. But this time we will try to make top 4 in this season.
New hopes and new challenges. It will be interesting to see how Delhi changes its fortune in the upcoming season of the super exciting Hockey India League. With cameraman Gaurav, this is Mehraj Singh for DD India, Delhi.
And that's all we have for this edition of DD India News Hour. But let us know your thoughts on the news of the day. And for those on the go, you can get all the latest news and updates from India and across the world on DD India's mobile app. It's available on both Android and iOS. Just scan the QR code on the screen and download the app right away. And we'll be back with more news as it breaks here on DD India. I'm Gautam Roy. From all of us here in Delhi, thanks for watching DD India News Hour.